You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Radio Show, only on Financial News and Talk. Now live in studio, your host, local and national real estate expert and consumer advocate, Ron Siegel.
And hello again. Welcome to Ron Siegel Radio. This is the show with no real boundaries as we discuss current events, financial markets, politics, sports, even poking fun at the rest of the media. This is the show that connects the dots of confusion, delivered by conflicting media reports. We connect the dots, you know, the actions you can take how your family or business can benefit in current events. Most of all, thank you for joining me. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day. We have a very focused show. We only chat about items that affect the roof over your head, your bank account, and anything I feel would benefit you. And let me remind you, if you ever have any home or finance-related questions, I am the consumer advocate looking out for you, and you can reach out to me directly, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Just remember, that's the number you call anytime for assistance. When you call that number, it comes directly to me first. There are operators standing by.
Quiet, numbskulls, I'm broadcasting.
While I do have a great team when it comes to developing a financing plan, a plan to save you money, I personally work with you, even if you don't have any needs today. Save this number in your phone for future reference, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Doing great today. Glad you're asking. Let us know where you're checking in from. If you're watching us on the live stream, just tell us live and where you're checking in from. If you're watching a replay, please just put in their hashtag replay so we will know. Helps us know who's listening and where. Appreciate that. As always, we celebrate on Ron Siegel Radio. Let's see what we've got to celebrate today, other than the fact that I did wake up this morning on the right side of the sidewalk. I know some people are not going to be too happy about that, but what the heck. Let's see what are we celebrating today. I saw there's a few things. Isn't this a little late, Josh? National Bean Counter Day. Wouldn't that have been yesterday? I think that should have been done tax day, but I will remember that when we get to have an event to go to this afternoon. So I'll make sure we note that. Healthcare Decisions Day. Okay. I know.
It is what it is.
Orchid Day. Have you ever tried growing orchids? They're not the easiest thing in the world. And here's a scary one, especially if you're like me. National Wear Your Pajamas to Work Day. I would scare a whole lot of people if I did that. So I'm going to stick with the one that I know best, the one that I like best, because I have beaten anorexia. National Eggs Benedict Day. There's a lot of places around me now where we get Eggs Benedict that I really like it. I think it's called Snooze at the Orange Circle. I just learned of that place, Snooze, Orange Circle. They make some really good Benedicts over there. In fact, I might have to go over there after the broadcast today. We better get onto the broadcast first, though. Otherwise, Josh is going to get mad at me because the stations don't wait. Dow Jones Industrial Average is up 110 points. The S&P 500 is down 7.84. NASDAQ is down 24.63. Oil's up just a little bit, 8 cents a barrel. Let's take a look and see the 10-year Treasury. That one's still going up, 4.66.
Ow!
Yeah, that's painful. If you've been thinking about buying a house, financing a house, maybe you've got some debt consolidation issues, that 10-year Treasury. Now I will remind you, if it's a debt consolidation issue, don't worry about it. RSR two-step, we take care of that. We plan for things like this. RSR two-step. So you go out there and you take care of your debt consolidation needs right away, knowing that the interest rates are high, but they're still less than what 22.84% average on credit cards. So they're still less than that. But we know that we're going to be restructuring down the road when interest rates come down. They're cyclical. They go up, they come down. So right now they're at 4.66. I did notice yesterday the Federal Reserve president in New York said he's still anticipating rate cuts for this year. There's a lot of people that are worried about that. So he's still anticipating them. The 10-year Treasury, 4.66 is where we're sitting right now. So that is a little worrisome if you're thinking about buying a house, but I'm going to still tell you, buy the house now. Now, we've shown you some strategies. We've shown you many, many strategies where I think we've done this. RSRBuydown.com, RSRBuydown.com, where you can still buy down the interest rates. And yes, don't worry about, if you've been listening to all the news about this National Association of Realtors settlement, it's a bunch of hogwash. Just my opinion, and it should be yours too. So what is that all about? It's all about attorneys wanting to get money. Does that surprise anybody?
Surprise, surprise, surprise.
So they say that real estate agents that make 2.5%, 3% are making too much money while they're charging 40%, 30%, whatever the number is. But I digress. RSRBuydown.com. If you can't afford the payments that you're looking at right now, RSRBuydown.com might be a solution for you. We can analyze it because everybody's situation is a little bit different. Now, I don't want you to spend too much money on that unless, of course, you need it or it's in a bidding situation, and there's many, many reasons that you would need it. But the idea here is you're buying down the interest rate to get it to something that you can afford, asking the seller to help. Now, the idea here, and I'm going to talk about a little bit about this in the Mortgage Minute coming up, builders are not building nearly enough homes. Why is that important? Well, it's going to help maintain the pricing. It's going to help maintain pricing on the homes that are built. So I'm just throwing that at you. We're watching that very closely. The idea here is get into that home right now. When interest rates come down, and we're going to talk about this as well, but when interest rates come down, we're going to see a lot more people get into the marketplace for buying. It's just the way the market works. That's always the way the market works. So as interest rates come down, there's going to be more sellers going out there because the people who own homes and need a loan, they're going to say, you know something, it's time. I'm going to sell my house because the interest rates are low. The property that I'm moving to is going to have a stronger interest rate. I'm going to share with you, those folks should not be waiting. Why? Because they can maximize their sales price right now because there's not a lot of inventory on the market. And if they go and they buy another property, well, when interest rates come down, they can restructure that loan and prices in their area, their neighborhood are going to skyrocket. Now, we just finished our 48th, going to the end of last year. We don't have all the numbers in for this year. 48 consecutive quarters, 48 consecutive quarters of real estate appreciation. Let's see. Can the stock market say that? No. Can the gold market say that? No. Can the bond market say that? No. 48 consecutive quarters of appreciation in real estate. So we'll talk about that as well. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate current events and the financial markets. When we come back, should I wait for mortgage rates to come down before I move? Can I fix my credit in a week? Questions you should ask when buying a house? We'll talk about all that and more. Reach me anytime off your number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numero 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Are you earning a safe, secure 10+% return on your investments? Is your credit score over 800? Are you living in the home of your dreams or simply where you think you can afford? If the answer to any of these questions is no, what are you doing about it? Text ATP to 79564. Complete a 3-minute complimentary survey, and the area trusted professionals of Ron Siegel Radio will reach out to you to develop a success strategy for you. Again, all you need to do is text ATP to 79564.
Are you like many of your neighbors trying to figure out how to pay off your debts so you could retire someday? Build bigger savings. Invest in opportunities. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Debt will destroy 50% of Americans from being able to retire earlier and with more. What if you could have a guaranteed program that could show you how to eliminate all of your debt in 10 years or less, all without having to spend more each month than you spend right now? Yes, that's correct. All without spending more from your checkbook each month than you are today. Get your free analysis today to see if you qualify. Visit rsrnodebt.com. Log on today for your free analysis. rsrnodebt.com. No purchase necessary. The free analysis takes only 2 minutes. rsrnodebt.com. Ron Siegel Radio is your home and mortgage connection. Go to rsrnodebt.com. rsrnodebt.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. The Mortgage Minute today being brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And every day at this time, OBMMI. They provide the most comprehensive, accurate, timely, and interactive analysis of pricing ever conducted in the mortgage industry. Calculated from actual locked rates with consumers across 35% of all mortgage transactions nationwide. They do not tell us points paid, points received, or APRs. They only tell us the number to put into your mortgage calculator. Oh, yeah, if you don't have one, ronismylender.com, ronismylender.com. You can get our mobile app totally free. And yes, it does have a mortgage calculator right on there. But OBMMI tells us the number to put into the calculator to find out what your monthly payment will be. Ooh, that's an ugly looking chart there, Josh. Only in mortgage world is an ugly chart. Everything's in green, right? That's kind of odd there. So conventional rates, 30-year fixed up 7.122, jumbo 30-year fixed up 7.564, FHA 30-year up 6.805, USDA 30-year fixed up 6.783. That's the rural areas, generally no down payment. And the best loan on the market, 30-year VA loan, up 6.741. Every one of them are up. And the way the market's looking right now, they'll probably be up again tomorrow unless the market turns around. If you want our market commentary each morning as early as the data allows, rsrmarketminute.com, rsrmarketminute.com. Send that out as early as the data allows, usually a 2-3 page big type because I can't see very well. But 2 to 3 pages of our market commentary. We also have to put all our compliance stuff on the back end of it. So that's where that is, rsrmarketminute.com. Let's take a look and see what's going on in the markets today. Well, as we talked about a little earlier, the S&P 500, well, it's turned around. It's flat right now, up 0.22. The 10-year Treasury yield up 5 basis points, 4.65. Hoping that stays below 4.73 at the close today. Mortgage-backed securities, the bond down 18 basis points. When the bond goes down, the yield goes up. Not a good sign right now. So that's still moving up. Hopefully we'll hit some level of support so that bond doesn't go down too much further. Fed Chair Jerome Powell speaking this afternoon about 10:15 our time, so we'll be watching that. Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac announced if a buyer agent commission is paid through a seller concessions that would not toward allowable concessions. That's in the weeds. So that's another one of those things that part of that National Association of Realtors issue. Don't worry about it. If you're using a real estate professional that listens to Ron Siegel Radio or is partnered with our lending team, we've shown them everything they need to know to deal with this whole issue. It's a club. The National Association of Realtors is a club. Are you a member? If you're not a member, don't worry about it. Keep doing things the way you think is best for you and your family. CoreLogic Rental Report released there for the month of February, showing that rent prices are up 3.4% year over year, which is a pretty big increase from 2.6% in the previous report and the highest year over year level in 10 months. The latest CPI report showed that shelter costs rose by 5.7%, which is 2.3% higher than what we are actually seeing because of the lag. When you multiply that difference by the shelter weighting in the core CPI, it shows that shelter is being overstated by about 1%. That would mean that core CPI should be closer to 2.8% instead of 3.8%. Doing the same exercise with the Fed's favorite measure, PCE, and you get 2.3% instead of 2.8%. That's being reported. The National Association of Home Builders, NAHB Housing Market Index, measures builder confidence, remained at 51, which is the highest level in 9 months, and is in expansion territory finally. Here's the breakdown of the internal metrics. Current sales rose 1 point to 57. That's expansion. Future expectations fell 2 points to 60. Still expansionary. Buyer traffic rose 1 point to 35. Not good, but it is the highest level since August. Future sales remained in expansion, but fell 2 points because of the higher mortgage rate outlook. Buyer traffic continues to slowly rise. Overall, good report. According to the National Association of Home Builders, 22% of builders, the percentage of builders cut home prices, down from 24% last month and 36% in December. The use of sales incentives ticked down to 57% in April from a reading of 60% in March. This shows that builders have a bit more pricing power and speaks to strength. What does that mean? One of the things that builders want, they work the hardest for, is to make sure that the price stays up on their properties, because that just leads to future phases. If they're doing price cuts, people don't feel that there's any urgency in purchasing. So they'll do all kinds of things to keep the price up, the headline number. And what they'll do is they'll do those concessions that I talked to you about when we discussed rsrbuydown.com. Builders understand that. They've done it for years. So they've been doing that. They're not doing quite as much of it right now because they don't think they have to. Housing starts and permits fell almost 15% in March after a nice gain in February. The annualized pace has fallen from 1.55 million units to 1.32 million units. Remember, we need 1.9 million for household formation. Starts are now down 4.3% year over year. Single-family starts, which are most important, fell 12.4% to 1.02 million unit annualized pace. Single-family starts are now up 21% year over year. There were just 299,000 multifamily starts, which is the lowest level since 2017, not including COVID. There's a near record high, 957,000 multifamily units under construction, which should add some supply and ease rental price pressures. Building permits, which is future supply, fell 4.3% to 1.46 million unit annualized pace, now up 1.5% year over year. Single-family permits fell almost 6% to under 1 million units annualized pace. Completions fell 13.5% last month to 1.47 million unit annualized pace, while single-family fell 10.5% to 950,000 unit pace. Bottom line, we may see some easing in the rental market in the near term, but home prices should be well supported as there's not enough inventory supply coming to the market. And that is the Mortgage Minute, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products. You just need to make the call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. And I'm going to mix things up a little bit today because we want to do a workshop at the end of the broadcast. So we'll look at Your Credit Matters, brought to you by RSRDebtFree.com, RSRDebtFree.com. If you can't pay your bills off in the next 2 to 3 months, that's unsecured debt, credit cards, unsecured loans, autos are secured, but I in any event, Just everything except for your mortgage and your private or your public student loans. Can't pay those debts off? rsrdebtfree.com. Let's take a look and see if we need to do a debt consolidation loan or maybe debt settlement with our friend Chris Corrales. We've been talking about that for some time now. Lots of folks are getting helped with that as we go through and see where we are. Can I fix my credit in a week is the subject. The short answer, in most cases, there is not an instant fix for improving your credit score. Building, improving, or even repairing credit takes time. Your credit score is like a snapshot that lenders use to determine your financial trustworthiness. Whether you're applying for a loan, a credit card, or even renting an apartment, your credit score plays a crucial role in the decisions made about your financial future. But what if you're in a pinch and need to improve your credit quickly? Can you fix your credit in just a week? How often do you check your credit score? I do it every day, maybe 2 or 3 times a day. I pay for a service. Cleanall3.com is the one I would recommend, cleanall3.com. Or you go to myfico.com. Just because I've used it for so long, I go to myfico.com, and I get an update every time my wife or my credit changes or there's an update to a report. I watch it so you don't have to. What does that mean? Well, I understand now when there's an inquiry on my account, what does that do to my scores? When my credit utilization changes, what does that do to my scores? So I do all of that stuff and I play with it a little bit to see what's going to happen. But here you go. How often do you check your credit score? If you have noticed in the past how long it takes your credit score to update, the credit reporting process is another reason why it would take longer than a week to update your score. It takes a while for lenders, banks, and bureaus to record your activity. Here's what you should consider about the reporting process. Number one, there are consistent reporting periods. Creditors typically report your account to the credit bureaus at the end of each billing cycle. That'd be the statement closing date or the billing closing date. This means that any changes you make to your credit behavior, such as paying off a credit card balance or opening a new account, won't immediately reflect on your credit report. Instead, you'll have to wait until the next reporting period for these updates to be included. That's why I've been telling you, watch the video, rsrccpayment.com. rsrccpayment.com. I show you exactly how to do this to maximize your credit scores. Number two, the bureaus need time to verify your information. Even when creditors submit information to the credit bureaus, there is processing time involved. The credit bureaus need to receive, verify, and process the data before updating your credit report. This process is not instantaneous and can take several days to weeks, depending upon various factors, such as the volume of information being processed. Additionally, the bureaus have specific schedules for updating credit reports, which may vary depending on factors like the bureau's workload and the frequency of data submissions from creditors. Number three, there's a lag between your credit reports update and when your scores updates. Even after the credit bureaus update your credit report, there may still be a lag before your credit score reflects these changes. This is because your credit score is calculated based on the information in your credit report. While some credit scoring models may update more frequently, others may only update periodically, resulting in delays in your credit score reflecting these recent changes. I will tell you that cleanall3.com and myfico.com, those are pretty much instant. Your scores are not saved anywhere. They're generated from the algorithm when they're requested. So going and looking at those two, cleanall3.com and myfico.com, you're going to get the benefits there. Number four, not everything is strong enough to impact your credit score. Your score may not change significantly if there hasn't been much recent activity on your credit accounts. For example, if you haven't made any new credit applications or incurred new debts, your credit report may remain relatively unchanged. The reality of fixing credit, while some changes to your credit report may occur relatively quickly, significant updates to your credit score typically take time to reflect accurately. It's essential to be patient and to continue practicing responsible credit habits while waiting for your credit score to update. While you may not be able to fix your credit in a week, there are some strategies you can try to start improving it immediately. rsrccpayment.com. Always try to pay your bills on time. Pay down credit card balances. Check your credit reports for errors. Become an authorized user. Might help your score. Report rent and utilities. Sometimes that'll help depending upon what you're looking to do. And patience. Now, there are some options. I will tell you, there are some options for what's called a rapid rescore. Rapid rescore does allow us to make sure your balances get to a certain level, get a letter from the bureaus, and get a rapid rescore done. So that is something there is a possibility. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, rising home prices continue to fuel growing home equity. We will chat about that. And we're going to also talk about, should I wait for mortgage rates to come down before I move? Questions to ask when buying a house, all that and more. Reach me anytime off air, number 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990 at ronsiegelradio.com, facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Are you a veteran, own a home, and need money? The Siegel Lending Team is here to help veterans refinance and get the money they need. The VA 100 lets you borrow up to 100% of your home's value, refinance your mortgages, consolidate credit cards, and lower your payments by an average of $700 a month. And the Siegel Lending Team knows that character means more than a credit score. Call 800-306-1990. That's 800-306-1990. Rate subject to change without notice. Licensed by the California Department of Corporations, NMLS 21037, and DRE number 018694452.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Hey there, friends. Wondering if now is the right time to buy a home? Or are you waiting for a bunch of foreclosures? The facts speak loud and clear. Defaults and foreclosures are down. Sure, we might be headed towards a recession. But did you know interest rates typically drop and real estate values often go up during a recession? So what are you waiting for? Higher prices or higher payments? Don't navigate these waters alone. Connect with RonSiegelRadio.com today. That's RonSiegelRadio.com.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. The real-time real estate segment today being brought to you by rsrmoney.com. rsrmoney.com. Should I wait for mortgage rates to come down before I move? You've got a move on your mind. You may be wondering whether you should wait to sell until mortgage rates come down before you spring into action. Here's some information that could help answer that question for you. In the housing market, there's a long-standing relationship between mortgage rates and buyer demand. Typically, the higher rates are, you'll see lower buyer demand. That's because some people who want to move will be hesitant to take on a higher mortgage rate for the next home. So they decide to wait it out and put their plans on hold. But when rates start to come down, things change. It goes from limited or weak demand to good or strong demand. That's because a big portion of the buyers who sat on the sidelines when rates were higher are going to jump back in and make their moves happen. We got a graph for you that helps give you a visual of how this relationship works and where we are today. If you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials, or the ABC News and Talk AM 1490 video feed, you can see buyer demand. When the rates get up 7.5%, not a lot of demand. When we start getting between 6.5 and 7, limited. 6 to 6.5, good. And 5.5 to 6, strong demand. That's according to Mortgage News Daily and KCM. Lisa Sturdivant, chief economist for Bright MLS, explains, quote, the higher rates we're seeing now are likely going to lead more prospective buyers to sit out the market and wait for rates to come down, unquote. Why you might not want to wait? If you're asking yourself, what does this mean for my move? Here's the golden nugget. According to experts, mortgage rates are still projected to come down this year, just a bit later than they originally thought. When rates come down, more people are going to get back into the market, and that means you'll have a lot more competition from other buyers when you go to purchase your next home. That makes your move more stressful if you want, because greater demand could lead to an increase in multiple offer scenarios and prices rising faster. But if you're ready and able to sell now, it may be worth it to get ahead of that. You have the chance to move before the competition increases. Bottom line, if you're thinking about whether you should wait for rates to come down before you move, don't forget to factor in buyer demand. Once rates decline, competition will go up even more. If you want to get ahead of that and sell now, give me a call, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Hey, don't forget about at Geneva, they've got that transition loan. So you can actually buy something now using the equity of your departing property, even if you haven't sold that yet. That's the transition loan from our friends over at Geneva Financial. Kevin, that's what we're here for. We like to try and give people as much information as we can about buying houses, and we're going to give you a lot more of that today. I'm going to actually go in right now and talk a little bit. 12 questions to ask when buying a house. We're going to talk about that. Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. And I got to figure out what I did with my report because I can't find it there. Okay, so we're going to go and it'll take me 1 second to put it into the folder. Okay, rsrdebtfree.com. That's Borrow Smart. So we got, now these are things, it's a combination. You're going to want to be looking at this stuff from both the standpoint of if you're buying, if you're selling, when you're searching for a real estate professional, all of the above. These are things that you want to be looking at. So, I don't know why it's not showing up the way I want it to, but I think I've got it. Oh, there it is. Because I didn't put it in the right spot. Sorry, Josh. You're probably sitting there looking at me and just laughing that that it's not where it's supposed to be. And yes, I am the one that screwed it up. Let's see. Questions to ask when hiring a real estate agent. First step in buying a home is hiring a realtor or real estate agent to help find the right house. And just like with any other professional relationship, you should plan on interviewing agents to find the right one, or give me a call at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Anywhere in the sound of my voice, I know agents that might be able to help you. How long have you been a real estate agent? Best to work with an agent with at least a few years experience in the business because knowledge of the market and prevailing sales trends requires hands-on experience. I'm going to say it again. I've said it before. You don't want to be using an agent just because it's cheap. This is probably going to be your largest transaction in your life. It's like, I want to go to the cheapest cardiologist I can possibly find. No. Or I want to use my wife's divorce attorney. No. Or maybe I want to use the DA to represent me in a DUI. No. Think about all these things. You want somebody that's good, not just the cheap ones. So if you're going to your best friend's dog walker's aunt's cousin who's never done a transaction but got their license, if you think that education is expensive, try ignorance. Doesn't mean you have to lose your business card of any newbie agents you meet. If you're interested in working with a newer agent, ask if they'll receive any guidance from a veteran in the office. Number 2, you specialize in a particular home type or price point. Ideally, your real estate agent has experience working with buyers like you, people that want the same type of home you do or have a similar price range. An agent specializing in single-family homes when you want a condo, or who helps buyers find high-value homes when you're looking for a starter home, will be a frustrating mismatch. Hey, don't forget, if you're not real experienced in this part of the market, go to rsrlinks.com, FHIQ, rsrlinks.com, FHIQ. That's our first home quiz. And yes, if you go there, complete the quiz, we're going to put everybody who takes the quiz into a wheel of names and give away a trip to Nashville. So we don't pay transportation, taxes, or fees, but 4 days, 3 nights in Nashville. Number 3, what's your schedule and availability? Some agents handle their real estate business on a part-time basis, maybe even based around another job, while part-time agents can be excellent partners in home buying. Helpful to understand early on your agent's availability. If it doesn't match up with yours, you got a problem. Number 4, do you work with both buyers and sellers? Realtors and real estate agents often represent both home buyers and sellers, but you want to work with an agent who primarily or exclusively represents buyers if you're buying or sellers if you're selling. Such an agent will not only be in a better position to help you understand the market and negotiation with sellers, but will also not be in a position where they could be representing both sides of a real estate transaction. While it's rare for an agent to represent both the buyer and seller in a home, it sometimes happens. In most cases, the agent will choose one side to represent and assign another agent in their office to represent the other. Even with a different agent representing the other side of the transaction, however, it's extremely difficult for the agent to maintain their fiduciary duty to you as a buyer, since they will know the financial circumstances of both the buyer and the seller. An easy way to avoid this potential conflict is to work with an agent who primarily or exclusively represents the same side that you're dealing with. Questions to ask. What neighborhood should I be looking in? The question can prompt a fruitful conversation about what you're looking for in a home. Your agent will likely ask you what's important to you. What should I look for doing a home tour? Easy to get stars in your eyes when you're seeing sleek new appliances and eye-catching color schemes in a potential home. But those are not necessarily the best indicators of a good buy. Ask your real estate agent to help you determine what makes a house a solid long-term investment and a place to live. Knowing what to look for ahead of time will help you not be so dazzled. You may want to do some homework. Josh, I gave you a new link there, RSR links for our friends over at Altos. What about, do you have the one for Altos? I think we did, I think it's rsrlinks.com/Altos or Market Report. Maybe it's under Market Report. rsrlinks.com/Market Report. That'll give you the information on any specific zip code you want. How many homes are for sale? What's the trajectory of pricing? And it's free to you. rsrlinks.com/Market Report. Number 8, what closing costs can I expect? Even home buyers who feel prepared for the costs of closing on a home may feel somewhat sticker shock about their closing costs. According to the most recent Closing Corp report, mortgage closing costs in 2021 averaged $6,905, including taxes, which the buyer or seller may be in charge of paying, depending upon various factors, and $3,860 excluding transfer taxes. Talk to your agent. Give us a call at 800-306-1990. We can help you with that and get that pre-approval, pre-underwrite. No, the fast pass and all those other fast whatevers they want to call it, or pass whatever they want to call it. I don't care about those. What you want to be is pre-underwritten and get a dashboard that gives you all the modern pre-approval. The modern pre-approval. If you're not getting a modern pre-approval, you're probably missing out. Number 9, do you see any issues with the house? An experienced agent will be more attuned to potential home problems than a first time or even a second or third timer home buyer. Your agent is better positioned to point out that water heater is nearly at the end of its cycle, that the roof needs repair, or that there isn't sufficient office space for 2 work-from-home spouses. Number 10, how much are expenses like taxes and utilities? Your monthly mortgage payment toward principal and interest is only the beginning of your home ownership costs. You'll also need to budget for additional expenses like property taxes and homeowners insurance. If you're in California, that's a biggie. Can you even get homeowners insurance for that property? You'll also need to think about utilities such as trash pickup services, electricity. Understanding just how much you can expect to pay for these services can help you avoid a costly budgeting mistake. As you're considering various homes, make sure you understand how much you'll pay each month for all of these costs. Number 11, why is the house for sale? Good question. Understanding why the sellers are planning to leave the area may give you important insight into the home. For instance, if the sellers are leaving because the home has become too expensive to maintain, you may not be interested in making the offer. On the other hand, a seller who is relocating soon for a new job may be willing to negotiate to expedite the sale. Their company might even be willing to help. Number 12, do you recommend any contingencies or concessions? When you make an offer on a house, ask your agent whether you should include any contingencies and or concessions in your offer. You may state that you'll make an earnest money payment if your offer is accepted. An earnest money deposit is the money the buyer sets aside in an escrow account once a home sale is under contract. It indicates that the buyer is serious about purchasing the home. For example, you may set aside $10,000 or $15,000 of your down payment as an earnest money deposit. Why does earnest money matter? Because of contingencies. Contingencies are conditions the buyer lists in the offer, and the seller must meet these contingencies as a condition of the sale. A lot of different issues right there. Concessions, on the other hand, are benefits the seller gives the buyer. A common type of concession is when the seller agrees to pay some portion of the closing costs. If you want to buy a house that's fielding a number of offers, you'll probably not request any contingencies or concessions. Sellers of homes that are in high demand are usually less interested in meeting your concessions and contingencies. But sellers may be amenable to contingencies or concessions if the house has been on the market for some time or they're otherwise motivated to sell quickly. That's why you need to look at the market report, rsrlinks.com/market report, rsrlinks.com/market report. If you're the buyer, get our free home buyer's guide. We update it every quarter, rsrhbg.com, rsrhbg.com. If you're the seller, get our home seller's guide, rsrhsg.com. All of those are there for you. That is the Borrow Smart segment brought to you by rsrdebtfree.com, rsrdebtfree.com. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, discussing your real estate, current events, and the financial markets. When we come back, I'm going to do a little bit of a workshop with you. I don't know how much we're going to get into, but rising home prices continue to fuel growing home equity. We'll talk about that one. You can reach me anytime. Off-air number, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990, or RonSiegelRadio.com. Facebook.com/Ron Siegel Radio. And if you miss any part of our broadcast, Ron Siegel 1 on YouTube. Ron Siegel, the numeral 1 on YouTube. Stay tuned. We'll be back in just a few.
Ron Siegel Radio. Your home and mortgage connection.
Do you know a homeowner experiencing divorce? Do you know a real estate reference and the divorce decree could cost tens of thousands of dollars? A certified divorce mortgage planning and real estate report could save you thousands of dollars, and it's free from your local certified divorce lending professional. Reach out to Ron today. RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037, Equal Housing Lender.
Homeowners over the age of 62 are taking back financial control after retirement with reverse mortgages, and the Siegel Lending Team is here to help you use it to your advantage. Call Ron Siegel with Geneva Financial to receive your free information booklet with no obligation. The booklet answers all your questions, and the best part is, you still own your home. Call Ron Siegel at 1-800-306-1990 or visit RonSiegelRadio.com.
Are you paying rent because you cannot afford to live in your dream home? Are you paying rent because you don't believe you have the down payment funds to purchase your own home? At Siegel Lending Team at RonIsMyLender.com has up to $25,000 to help qualified people purchase their own home at amazing interest rates. Contact the Siegel Lending Team today at RonIsMyLender.com. Again, RonIsMyLender.com. Licensed under NMLS 217037. RonIsMyLender.com.
Confused about the home buying process? Or curious how much you really know about buying a home? Take the First Home IQ quiz to test your understanding of buying a home. Created by the nonprofit First Home IQ, this 5-minute quiz will give you a score, what you missed, and why. Take the quiz in 5 minutes at rsrlinks.com/FHIQ and find out what you need to know about buying your first home. That's rsrlinks.com/FHIQ.
You're listening to Ron Siegel's Home and Finance Show with local and national expert Ron Siegel. Now, here's Ron.
Welcome back to Ron Siegel Radio. Within every market, there are solutions as well as tremendous opportunities. You just need some trusted guidance. That is my message, and I will be delivering it every day on Ron Siegel Radio. Or anytime at 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. 1990. Got a little workshop for you. Mortgage 101, brought to you by our friends at Geneva Financial. When you're ready for that next home loan, Geneva's got the programs and the products You just need to make the call. 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990. Rising home prices continue to fuel growing home equity. That is our subject today. Dr. Selma Happ, Chief Economist, CoreLogic, tells us rising home prices continue to fuel growing home equity, which at $298,000 per average borrower remain near historic highs at the end of the 2023. By extension, at 43%, the average loan-to-value ratio of U.S. borrowers has also remained in line with record lows, which suggests that the typical homeowner has notable home equity reserves that can be tapped into if needed. Take a look. I've talked to you about this one before. rsrhomeselect.com. rsrhomeselect.com. Tap into that equity in a smart way. Get your loan paid off as quick as possible. Make your strategic investments. So quarter over quarter, what percentage of change in home prices is dramatically increasing every single quarter. And if you're watching us on RonSiegelRadio.tv, any of our socials with ABC News and Talk, AM 1490 video feed, you're seeing some of the charts that I'm talking about right here in the process. And it comes to us from our friends over at Keeping Current Matters. They go through a lot of this stuff for us, or they give us a lot of do the right research for us. But the national average, quarter over quarter, national average up 1.5%. California is generally a bit higher than that, and I can't see the numbers in here, but I think it says on there that California is up like 1.3%, so we're a little below the national average. 5 years, 42% for California. 59% is the national average. Since 1991, 311%. National, 317% in California. And if we look at year over year, 4.9% appreciation in California. So we're seeing a lot of appreciation out here. And do you want to capture that? That's the big issue right there, is are you in position to capture it? FHFA, U.S. house prices rose 6.5% between the fourth quarter of 2022 and the fourth quarter of 2023. According to the Federal Housing Finance Agency, FHFA, House Price Index, prices are up 1.5% compared to the third quarter of 2023. Price appreciation year over year, seasonally adjusted for purchases. Again, 48, I think I mentioned this in the opening segment, 48 consecutive quarters of positive appreciation. 48 quarters. That's going back to 2012. Now, think about that concept, because there's not a lot of investments that you can go into that's going to have that kind of price appreciation and consistency. Now, we've talked to you in the past. I think it was 2006 was the only year going back to 1942 where there's been a 10-year period where real estate values, if you look at 2006, 2016, the values were not up. They were down about, I think, 3 or 4%. But other than that, every year every 10-year period, they're up. Home equity gains. So, yeah, I know that I mentioned a little bit ago that California is not quite as high in a percentage rate as some of the other states, but on a national average, think about this concept. On a national average, year over year, fourth quarter 2023, let's see, California up $49,000. The rest of the country, $24,000. When I do a lot of these numbers, I go through and I give them to you. And I do tell you that, you could probably double it for California. Well, here it's a little more than double. In the fourth quarter 2023, the average U.S. homeowner gained approximately $24,000. Again, California, $49,000 in equity during the past year. Now, there's still a lot of people with a lot of equity in their houses. Why do I mention that? 67.4% have paid off their mortgages or have at least 50% equity. Now, do you know what your rate of return is on home equity? 0. What other investment would you put in that you got a 0 rate of return? But people say, I like that. Okay, so you like it. I get it. That's an emotional issue. But from a financial standpoint, is it the best bet for you? 38.7% own the home free and clear. 28.7% mortgage homes with less than 50% equity. 33% mortgage homes with less than 50% equity. I'm sorry, 28% is greater than 50% equity. That's why I talked to you about making use of the Geneva's Home Select product. And you can go to rsrhomeselect.com, rsrhomeselect.com, and you'll be able to get a video on the whole thing and see why I recommend this. You have access to your equity whenever you want it. You pay off the loan. And I was on a call yesterday where we were talking about a recent simulation where the effective APR for this family was 0.6%. Not 6%, not 1%, 0.6. January 2024, year-over-year house appreciation, according to FHFA, plus 6.3%. CoreLogic, 5.8%. S&P Case-Shiller, U.S. home average, 6%. They all use a little bit different data to come up with their numbers. That's why they vary. FHFA is dealing with homes with a conforming loan amount. CoreLogic includes the jumbo loans and cash buyers. So they're going to get you a little bit of different data. Year-over-year percentage change in price, U.S. Home Price Insights, February 2024. The actual data is 5.5%. Forecasted for 2025, 3.1%. So there's, and each of the last few years, it's been understated. The forecasts have been low. Lawrence Yun, Chief Economist, National Association of Realtors, says prices will remain firm and will not decline on a national level. Price appreciation over the last 60 years. Wow. Average sales price of houses sold in the United States. It's just really, really dramatic, the increase going from 1963 to 2023. Huge swings. Now, the ironic part is the rent number, the rent chart looks exactly the same. If you look at the rent, it's straight up pretty much over the last 60 years. If you look back at the chart we just showed you, price appreciation, they look like almost the exact same charts, except one of them goes in your pocket and one of them goes in your landlord's pocket. Just throw that out there for you. Now, why do I bring all of this up? Why is it so important for you to understand these things? Because the gap in net worth is widening. The gap in 2010 of homeowners to renters. Homeowners' net worth, 2010, $187,000. Renters, $5,400. $181,600 was the gap. The gap in net worth in 2022, last numbers we had available, this is according to the Fed, $10,400 for renters, $396,200 was the net worth for the homeowner. Massive. Homeowner's net worth almost 40 times greater. Again, $396,200 to $10,400. Homeowners build wealth across incomes. So regardless of whether you make a lot of money or not as much money, you're still, the net worth is greater for homeowners in every one of the income categories. 31 to 56,000, 56 to 91,000, 91 to 152, 152 to 249, and over 249,000. Every one shows that homeowners build wealth across incomes. Are you part of that group? Just throw that out there for you. Housing is a crucial piece of net worth, of your financial package. Home value component of net worth, substantial at every income level. And again, just another chart that shows the comparisons. Equity in primary residence, under $31,300. Equity in primary residence, $104,000. How do you determine equity? I get people that ask me that. It's the amount you owe subtracted from the property value. Do you want your property value? RSR myhomeiq.com. RSR myhomeiq.com. So that's where you're going to get that from. RSR myhomeiq.com. Let's continue. We only got a couple more minutes left. Opting for a smaller, more budget-friendly house means you don't have to save as much for down payment and upfront costs. Start small. You don't have to start with the 4-bedroom house with the white picket fence and a pool. You can go and start with a smaller property. And this comes from Veterans United. Veterans, you don't even have to make a down payment. As long as you can afford the payment, you're in good shape. I'm not saying go to Veterans United. That might not be your best bet. Roger Ashworth, analyst, Goldman Sachs, quote, the largest demographic in the U.S. is 30 to 39-year-olds, and it's going to continue to grow for the next several years. That's why life events start to happen in terms of having kids, for example. Some of these people will be making the decision to buy regardless of how rental affordability compares. But it definitely still factors in. That's why you need to get the information from our friends at First Home IQ. Take the quiz, and they've got a lot of information that'll come following that if you want it. Not only the trip to Nashville. RSRFHIQ.com. RSRFHIQ.com. You're listening to Ron Siegel Radio, and as always, we ask, set that first radio preset button to come back here and join Ron Siegel Radio, where we only speak about items affecting your house and your bank account. Thanks to all of our sponsors. A big thanks to Josh and Sean who are engineering us today. And, of course, a special thanks to you for spending a little bit of your day with us. That's all for Ron Siegel Radio. Again, if you have any questions or to meet any of our guests, call me anytime, 800-306-1990, 800-306-1990 or ronsiegelradio.com. And remember, make a lot of money so you can help a lot of people and have a lot of fun. Have a great day. We'll talk to you next time on Ron Siegel Radio.